Ready is the throne.
The throne is indeed ready. We just have to claim it. So join me on my journey to do so. We start back at our great uncle's Herbert's will, as one big thread I have left unresolved there was the natural order of the angels. I knew they had one order, which I got from the chapel much earlier in the game, but this indicates there's another way to solve that puzzle. Now, originally I got a little bit turned around, figuring out to discover this natural order first, but then I realized the order in the will is not the same as in the chapel. So now my assumption was I just needed to activate them as they are listed. But that meant the new task was to match the names of the angels to their statues. I already had a bunch of them, and then for the rest I just had to look closer at some of the clues left around the house. Orinda is the queen-like angel. As the groundskeeper mentions, she's in the original cloister, so you can see her there. Lydia is labeled on a sketch of the chapel in the Drafting Guide Volume 1. Rina the gardener is also named as the groundskeeper's preferred angel, and he drew her picture in his book. Joya was the last name I had remaining, so I was able to just match it to the cook, but actually her name is also displayed on the lunchbox as part of the phrase "Enjoy a lunch." Dauja the farmer is in the same guide as Lydia. Veya the chimney sweep appeared in one of the drafting guides too. Mila is the maid. We can see that from a little statue in the maid's chamber. And Draxus the dead is the obvious one. And of course there's yet another secret room. And within it is the stained glass with Draxus, the angel associated with the magical number 8. Here we also find the 2 manuscripts of our mother's books. The Red Prince is consistent with the version she reads out during the Room 46 ending cutscene, which didn't make it into the published book since they wanted her to change it due to the association of color red with Aries, and therefore they did not want to publish a book showing someone turning away from red. Other notable detail here is the association of bird colors and realm sigils. It's interesting because the clues I found in order to obtain this book were in the will, and you only get the will after completing the 8 realms puzzle, so you should have all of the sigil information by now. Not sure if there's a different route to here, or does the association with birds specifically has other separate meaning we are yet to use somewhere. I think I already spoke about this in a previous video, but I think the Red Prince true ending is basically about Simon going from being another child that grew up in Aries, being told what to like and to what to believe in, and then about him learning some truth of his journey that make him turn towards a new path, the path we are on now. The manuscript to a new clue seems more filled with information. It's a key to help you identify the clues in the original book in case you missed any. But it also weaves in some extra clues here and there, so it can lead the player to more discoveries, like swapping rook with king and the cipher piece in the secret passage. The clocks on this page are interesting, because in the full book they represent the 2 clocks in room 46 that were stacked on the sacred time. Here one shows a different time and the other shows anti-clockwise arrows. There's also an additional drawing showing a clef and the words denoted in verse, with the same arrows as on the rest of the board, indicating the phrase might be an anagram. I have seen this note in the music room. Now, the comment from Mary here has put my mind on a new path about her story. It says, "From what I was told, I believe Margot's directory is currently 22 rooms short of completion. No cause for concern, as Uncle has thankfully removed Pump Room from the draft pool." We know she wrote this book during the months she spent hiding in the safe house after her disappearance. And Margot refers to the detective Bon Margot, which we see mentioned as he's the one investigating her case. He even comments on the book's accuracy in an article hanging in the bookshop. Now, what if she didn't write this book just for us, Simon, but she wrote it to guide the detective along a certain path? Because quite a few clues in this book lead us to BlackBridge, and one of the big revelations we had from it was seeing the deleted messages from some people supposedly hiding on the estate who decided to kill Mary, but the logins just didn't match any known characters. There's even a note here to remind Randolph to set up the password we used to get those messages. What if those messages and clues were planted to make the detective think she was killed by some people that then fled the country to throw him off his search for her? And if that is the case, I would like to apologize for my earlier remarks about the security here being inadequate. But I'm not sure if this means she's still out there or did something else bad happen to her. Maybe eventually all those clues will solve that mystery. Now, let's head back to the mysterious crypt with some very specific requirements. The only thing we need to collect for this to work is the Southern Cross constellation for the day. Beyond that, I had to ensure I had no other items and currencies on me as I wait for the sacred hour. But with so little to do, it means it was barely 9 o'clock by the time I was ready for this thing to happen, so I had to stand around for quite a while. But you just get to experience the magic of video editing. And at 1:30 we are greeted with a surprise as the tomb raises up. There's a clock on it and we have to set it to something. A time? Multiple times? Well, we still have the wards from the castle puzzle. Originally, I made the assumption about how it came together, but now it seems like those are steps we need to follow. We start at 109, add 6, 115. But this next bit got a bit tricky. Counterclockwise, ward east, eastward? There are cardinal directions on the clock too, so I knew I had to work this in somehow, but I think I confused myself by jumping to conclusions that ward east was eastwards. But if we follow the instructions exactly, they say ward east. And with that small adjustment, the door opens. I received the royal Key of Aries. I'm pretty sure I know a chest that will match this key nicely. But to get there, we will need to bring the treasure trove outside again with the monk's blessing. Fortunately, this cryptome stays permanently raised, so you can come grab the key on another day without having to wait and abandon all resources. In the chest, we find an Aegean royal scepter. It works similar to the king's chest power, where you can pick room colors to make more common for the draft. While the scepter is an item, it does not drop if we end the day in a room matching its color. But the color setting can only be changed if we drop and pick it up again. However, once it's unlocked once, you can get it with no key and just inside the treasure trove in your house. This means we have all the pieces of the puzzle we got from the monked antechamber, the scepter, the cursed effigy in the shrine, the crown of BluePrince, and the throne in the throne room. We just need to gather them all on the same day, and it's actually not an easy job to do that. One item not even mentioned here we will need is also the sledgehammer, because we need it to open the cursed chest. The day has to start with a shrine draft for access to the effigy later on. For most of these videos, I've been skipping the drafting and going just for the puzzle explanations. But since this part is so much about finding all the pieces in the house, I thought it might be interesting to include at least some of it. I set my king to black so I can get the throne room and also the trove, because I dropped my scepter while doing other setup. I find king to be quite powerful way to steer my draft, so it can help with the RNG, although with blue rooms it's always a struggle because there are so many of them. I get the throne room as my fourth room and only 2 steps away from the entrance. It's free because I axed the cost in anticipation of it being an important room, and it being so close with the entrance would help us with being cursed when we bring the effigy. This day's draft almost goes sideways as I end up with 2 doors remaining and one of them needs a keycard. I draft the break room in hopes I can pick it up here. But I also end up not getting any rooms that I can continue on from here. So instead I pick the attic, hoping for at least the sledgehammer to appear to help with my plan. No such luck. However, I do actually get the keycard from the dartboard game, so I can continue from the conference room. I can see this whole task being a point where people already frustrated with the RNG would absolutely lose it. Honestly, this isn't going as well for me as I would like, And I don't have a lot of dice, and the few I've gathered were used to try to rescue some awful drafts and only ending with a slightly better one. I have tunneled around the place and I'm still looking for 2 more items. Even while I'm low on keys, I end up risking the chests in hope of some dice to help me along here. I end up having to do the trick where I come up through foundation to have access to a part of the house that got otherwise cut off by previous layout. The code check is eluding me, and that's where I've stashed my crown, so I end up drafting my upgraded planetarium to get my 1 die back there. Did you know you can upgrade the planetarium by bringing a telescope into it? The die gets quickly used up. Since I'm out of redraws, now my priority is only to not get stuck in hope that eventually I will hit a door that will give me what I need. Parlor on right ache means I don't even have to do the puzzle, as the blue tents give us the answer. But with 3 spaces remaining in the house, I'm still missing both my crown and the sledgehammer. Honestly, putting items in the code check sometimes feels like a big gamble, because despite the game claiming you're more likely to draft it the day after you put something in there, I've been not having good luck with it. From the ballroom, I get the workshop, which finally has the sledgehammer. So, can I get the crown? Bedroom is second to last. 2 more dice in the box here. And then, code checked on my first pull. And yes, I have just drafted a full house to gather all the items and room I needed to complete this single puzzle. So once again, this game has kept me on the edge of my seat. I had quite a dramatic run to enter room 46 for the first time, so this feels like a little extra drama. For this final step, I need to curse myself. Of course, it's only wise to do so when you have everything else set up, and I'm lucky to have my throne room nearby, because the curse leaves us with only 13 steps. So what is awaiting us in the throne room?
Steady is the scepter. Deadly is the stone. Heavy is the crown. Ready is the throne.
Are we the real BluePrince now? Our throne rune has ascended, and the power it gives us is to unlock the blue seal doors if we fulfill the conditions. So we can finally see what's in the tunnel. It's also interesting that it says all seal doors, because I only know about one of them. Our throne room also got redecorated with color blue, and the crest of her ladyship, the Grand Architect Baroness Auravelli. Interesting. Now let's talk a little bit more about how the cursed effigy works into this. As part of the cutscene, we see this boy with it in the chest. This is actually referencing the story we can read in the book, The Curse of BlackBridge. The grotto on the estate is named after that place. It is a longer one, so I will not read it all, but I will show you all the pages on video in case you want to pause and read. The story talks about an orphaned boy who joins a gang of bandits living in a cave at the bottom of BlackBridge Canyon. The boy's role is to be a berry picker, but one of the days he comes upon a man driving a carriage and ends up trying to rob him. The man has nothing on him, but there's a lockbox in the carriage which the boy breaks into. And in the box there is the effigy, and when the boy picks it up, the man tells him he is cursed and he will only have 13 steps left in his life. The boy disposes of the carriage driver and decides to use the carriage as a cheat around the step restriction. He returns to the bandit camp, but because he's riding on the carriage, this spooks the lookouts and they end up killing him. The boy gets buried with the effigy on his grave inside the caves. The final bit is about the rest of the bandit group getting buried in their cave hideout by the Black Guard, possibly further effect of the effigy dooming them all. Now, this book being on the estate shows that the family was interested in the story, and we know Herbert visited BlackBridge. So the family was likely looking for the artifacts and it was somehow needed to ascend his throne. Does it have some relationship to the Old Kingdom or some other place? Maybe it has other magical powers beyond just the curse. And of course, since we have now brought about the blue realm, we get our own puzzle box color. Blue tiles copy the behavior of the middle tile. Now, as we swim with the other realm tiles, the behavior of them is based on the realm characteristics. So what does this tell us about this new blue one? Is it about being formed from pieces of other realms? While the black or in the Aries has been featured heavily, we know this family also has rings to Elijah, and then possibly others? Is this one realm that brings all of the other ones together? Our great-grandmother, the Grand Architect, might have had some grand plans. Well, we can unseal the door now, but we have to draft the new throne room and then 8 blue rooms, and our house is currently full, so we just have to end this day. We have achieved a lot here. Now that the throne room is blue, it is not so easy to pull it anymore, since it's mixed up with all the other of our blue rooms. So it took me a couple of tries. But after that, it was fairly easy to get the 8 blue rooms in a row, and once that happens, the unlock is permanent. What is however not permanent is unlocking the door using the boiler. While the puzzle in the room remains on the right setting, you have to have the boiler drafted for the door to open. And we all love having to draft the boiler. Of course, it is trying to elude me, but I end up with one of my favorite drafting combos: study and laundry. I get a ton of money now between my allowance and the treasure trove, so turning all of that into gems with 8 rerolls per draft is a dream. So I am able to make the boiler appear not long afterwards. Back to the tunnel, back to the door. What can we possibly find here? It's a parlor game? Okay, then our options are: you have reached the end of your journey. There are 2 true boxes in this room, and there is no end to this journey. Well, they all feel kind of false. This is not the end. I know there is more. I have seen the clues. But it's unlikely there is no end unless this game is magically generating new puzzles as we go. So eventually I refused to choose either of those and just went for the middle box. There was nothing there. Oh well, on to the next day. Yes, I have to get the boiler again. And I also swing by the parlor and grab the key there. Might be useful. Now, with 2 keys, I choose the blue box indicating the end of the journey first. There's a book inside. But the black box triggers a cutscene. The box is empty. but on the lid there is a familiar shape. Denoted in verse, investor needed, does it never end. Those are all anagrams of each other, and they all have this spiral on the images attached. There's a spiral of the stars too, and I know there is one more large constellations, but I need to buff my stars some more to get to that. The point here is that there is definitely more hidden in this game, and we are not done. As for the book in the other box, this one is called the BluePrince. This one is specifically to us, Simon. There was a blue prince who sat on a blue throne. He had a blue crown made of sapphires and a blue castle made of stone. The prince had a love for all things blue. It's the only true color, in my humble view. He couldn't stand for the tint of hallway or a shop. He couldn't stand the shade of trees that green rooms brought. That he seldom talked to others, for they rarely shared his view. He never went to town, nor saw the flags they flew. The picture here shows the view of Reddington from the ruins where we have found the throne room. I wonder if this means anything. I even tried taking the telescope to that edge, but nothing happened. And do you know which game the prince instead would play? The one that made him happy whenever skies were grey. A game he had played in the house and on the grounds, and maybe you can guess from the clues that we have found. It was a game full of rooms and the stories that we climb, about a house full of lies and the truth that one prince finds. And as you, my reader, might already assume, the game is quite near you, in fact, in the same room. A game about you and the plans that you made, about a blue prince and his blueprints, the blue game we just played. Now, of course, this book is trying to indicate that the game is over, but again, we know it is not. The last page also hides a message. The true box does not always contain the prize, further pointing us to the other box with the spiral. This game continues to amaze me with its depth. But before I finish this episode, there's one more thread I want to introduce. I've gathered almost all the blue notes, and 4 of them lead me to something new. It started in the wine cellar, talking about the numbers under the coat of arms. Then other 3 notes talking about the family core. Well, we learned last time how to make a number core, so let's break this one down. If we separate the Roman numerals as indicated and then turn them into numbers and operations based on the numeric core rules, we get 53. And since the core is unlocked by the sum of its digits, we get 8. And since we also know the core is kept in the family vault, it sounds like there's another use for key 8. So quick trip to the gallery and then the vault, and we can unlock a box here. It's a letter from Herbert talking about a cipher his brother and mother were trying to work out. He talks about being jealous of his brother being given it since it was Herbert's passion to work on puzzles. But then he claims that he actually can't solve this one. But as he admits defeat, he also paints it as something that is okay to do, and having unresolved mysteries in your life is okay. Not sure if this is to put us off trying to solve everything, or is he just trying to make people feel better if they decide not to finish everything in the game. As for the cipher, it's a grid with 25 words. Something else for me to crack for another video then. Semi-related, there's also this letter in classroom for grade 2, pointing to the teacher Mrs. Peterson requesting information about numeric cores. But the professor she was talking to couldn't provide them as the pages were missing from the book. The pages 36 and 37 are the pages we previously found in the mine file cabinet. Not sure if this means Mrs. Peterson was up to something, or was she just interested in those topics. This will be it for my newest update into the BluePrince journey. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you soon with even more mysteries and puzzles that this game will provide us with.